Okay, our beloveds, today is another mystery grab bag. Our another has absolutely no idea where we're going, and it is with great intention. You all who have been listening to our messages hear a repeat of the same stuff, yet within each message there is a slight nuance, a slight difference, a slight building upon prior lessons. It is difficult, we know, to manage this process of going through the eye of the needle. And how you do it does make a difference. When you do it does make a difference. With what intention you do it does make a difference. At the end of the day, there is no singular way for you all to get through this. Each of you will find your very unique path and expression of it. And that is okay. The difficulty is when you expect others to express it as you do. And this is where our another is learning greatly. She is now laughing at the contrast that she sees with her ex-partner. What in the past would have caused her great frustration, because it is a battle of the wills, of controlling one another. That is what marriage oftentimes is. And she has just stepped out of that dynamic. So when one person still continues to use the same techniques or mechanisms, but the other has stepped out, it is really easy to step back, reflect on how you would have done it in the past, how you were engaged in a dance, if you will, with somebody else, and how you come to expect how the other person will respond or react given a particular position. And you do that with intention to create a desired effect. But what happens when the other person changes and it no longer works? You no longer have control over the other person. Or when you realize that you have stepped out of your old cycle. You can call it what you want, but our another reflects frequently on the guidance and advice that she receives from her therapists, and that is to stay away from feeling when somebody else says something to you that triggers you, to stay out of the feels and the emotions, and to go into the solution. Move from the back of your head where you're either angered or hurt or frustrated or become fearful, whatever that is. Recognizing that's just your coping mechanism speaking. And instead move to, what is the natural solution here, which pulls you to the prefrontal cortex with time. And when you practice this skill, you will do it better and better. And then you will realize the dance that you are in, that you have now stepped out of, and you will feel some mastery of that ability. Now, our another, as we have said multiple times, is the microcosm of the macrocosm, and you all are the macrocosm of her microcosm. So when she learns something, it is because you all are learning it, and by her learning it and stepping outside of that dance, so do you all, because now that energy has been shifted, has been changed. And it does not mean that everybody shifts and changes out of it. Only those who are in her, we're going to call it her soul group, those people who are connected to her particular flavor of journey will be guided or assisted to her leaning and learning into this mystery called the unknown. So now, what is the point of today's message? Even our another has no idea, because the energy within her head, within her soul, within her body is just kind of a meandering. There's nothing specific. And this is the point of today's message. You all have been stuck in your linearity, your linear way of thinking for so long, where there are natural consequences for actions. There is a natural progression of thought where you go from to A, which goes to B, which goes to C, which goes to D, and so forth and so on. And our another now is learning that when she simply just sits with where things are, and doesn't overanalyze or project or think through to the outcome, She simply goes with the natural flow for the solution or expression of self. And it is a very fine, nuanced distinction when knowing that you are responding out of that heartfelt space versus the anger or egoic space. Because from the outside world, it may look just as snarky or mean-spirited or controlling or whatever it is. But what really matters here is your intention. What is your intention? Your intention hopefully will be to step out of the cycle of controlling others around you in order to feel safe, and instead saying what feels good right now. Because when you get into those control dialogues with anyone, you will get stuck in that controlling energy. But when you step outside of it and say, I choose a different path, what is the natural solution? What is the natural expression of self here? And how do I move into that so that I feel like I am floating again instead of feeling angry and irritated? To learn how to transition or manage those responses, it is something that takes time and practice. An hour another today was reminded why she is no longer in the partnership that she was once in, and how her reaction in the past kept her in that dialogue, and how she has stepped out of it now and sees it for what it was. No judgment, just simply seeing it for what it was and being thankful and expressing that thankfulness for, I am free now and I am moving into new lessons and what that feels like. You who are moving through this similar journey with Kati are finding something similar as well. And for those of you who are in a different soul group but are nonetheless inspired by either our messages or her journey, know that while she is not resolving this specifically for your soul group, she is extending a vibration of healing that you can choose to entrain with or not, choose to adopt or not, choose to become or not. And for those of you who have chosen to do your best to become the highest version of you, just know that it is taking root. It is the gravel that is now being swept aside, which hid what was underneath. And now you are beginning to see the dirt and the roots that have been hidden under the gravel or the cement or the asphalt or the structures. The roots of your life are being exposed now, and you can see where they are weak and where they are strong or where they are non-existent. It is simply your journey, uniquely yours. So just continue to go down this non-linear path of self-exploration and self-expression. And even this message intentionally has that vibration of scatteredness. There is nothing specifically cohesive here for you to attach to, for you to say, yes, I feel it, I see it, I understand it. We are spreading the dandelion seeds across the country, and they're simply floating. And you need to wait for this message, which is floating through the ether, to really float to where it's intended to go, and then to settle down and plant a new seedling. You will need to float freely during these coming months, much until the end of the year, to see where you will end up. Just like Savannah has moved to a different part of the country because that is where her vibration was calling her to go. Kati is also now seeing how her vibration is vastly different than where she currently resides. And that doesn't mean that she must move. It just means that she can feel that her vibration is different, and that something will need to give. Either she will move to a place where the vibration aligns with her, or the vibration that is around her will need to change and align with her. And she doesn't care which. But she is seeing how she is very, very good with people. She connects with them. She is vulnerable. She is open. She shares freely, which is a little uncomfortable for some people. But once they recognize she has no agenda, she's just simply sharing, they join her and share something meaningful and intimate from within their own lives as well. And this is how you all get to a new place, by beginning to share and spread love. And you do that through vulnerability. Stop pretending that you have all the answers. Pretend that you don't. Recognize that you are a broken species that needs to find its way back to center. And you do that by admitting, I am lost. Are you lost? Maybe we can help one another on this path until we find the light again, the nirvana, the place where we are being called to go. Find your vulnerable classmates on this class called Earth. You all pretend to be so resilient and so strong, and it doesn't serve you. You pretend to be something you're not. Others pretend to be something they're not. And none of you are doing anything to heal one another. Share your vulnerabilities. Share your fears. Share your inquiries. Share your worries, your incessant spin cycle thoughts. Share where you are stuck, and you will be amazed at the resounding yes that you receive from others who are in a similar spin cycle. You all just hide these inner wounds from the world because you have been taught that this makes you weak, when really it just makes you human. And you pretend to be something that you're not. And we have pulled back the veil of Oz so you all can begin to connect to one another, but only through vulnerability. By saying, I have no heart, I have no brain, I have no spine, I have nothing. I am trying to become who I am, but I realize that I really have nothing and I want to start over. What I have done has not served me well, and I intentionally choose a new and different and better path today. And so it is. Namaste.